see.
Okay, I started us.
Nice. Let's see. Shirt number. I'm gonna call this shirt number 6.
You're teasing us, man.
Well, the playoffs, I will bring the heat. Don't you worry.
I'm a little worried. Wait, so give us the
Uh,
full picture here. What are we
oh, it's
looking at?
just from
Mets
my
baseball.
time in New York. New York's gotta be my favorite city out there. That isn't where I live.
The
I don't
Mets,
know.
though.
Yeah, and you'd be like, why am I wearing that when the Tigers are the best team in the league?
That's a good question. I actually don't keep up. Are they actually good this year?
Tigers are good, which is a
I
surprise.
know their pitcher, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Yes, so you're
Six,
stuck
number
in
6.
mad. It is number 6, yes.
Number 6. Sal, will you make a spreadsheet that way I don't repeat a number? I have a bad feeling.
That's a good idea. We need a little fan content, you know? Alright, so this is
How do you do
OPH
this?
LPT game 4. LPT's up
Which
2-1, if I'm not mistaken.
I think I couldn't tell which game we were watching, if that was
That was
game
game
2 or
2
game
to
3.
start. So
Okay.
OPH had won game 1 4-1, and then it's kind of been all LBT since. LPT, I believe, won game 2 8-2, and then they won game 3 maybe like 4-2, 5-2.
And now I can actually watch this. See, I don't know. Am I interested in the HGB series still going on here?
I tuned out. Felt like
I
HGB kind of had a handle on it.
Yeah. I
That
mean,
game 4 for them was insane. It was like 15-6. Like
this
what?
has been the blowout week.
You know, I was watching the first half hour games were on. It was WAP versus TMS, and then Furballers took it to OT in game 1. And I'm like, you know what? This is the week of, hey,
Fun.
there's a little
Yeah.
fight in these guys. And then it's quickly turned.
Yeah.
Turned.
Mueller? Oh. Where to begin with a night like this?
Well, do you want to just jump straight into the Pingo Paid stuff? Or do you want to do...
Yeah, I mean, that definitely wasn't a possibility at all at the start of the season. That definitely wasn't a remote chance of some shenanigans going on, I guess, when that team got together, huh? No?
You know, you say that.
No? You don't think
Honestly,
so?
I don't know. I actually think so. It's once. I hate to blame Spheroid for everything, but I'm going to.
I don't think it's all Spheroid, but it's a good healthy.
It's a good chunk.
Portion.
Yeah.
It's a good healthy portion.
And Balls, you just got his majors minutes. He's not interested in hearing Spheroid complain.
No. But here's the problem, though.
Yeah.
I think the CRC should make a good example here and say, Balls, you're not playing majors either, buddy.
No, I agree completely.
So, you know.
But this one is just so hard to parse. I guess for anyone who hasn't kept up, I don't know how you haven't, but what's funny
I didn't even see what happened when I didn't even see what happened when they all popped out. I'm gonna have to hopefully the Water Wheels Twitch VOD. We'll have to go back and see if it was like a play, like a specific play or something. That'd have been funny.
Well, I can tell you.
Like an old-fashioned ranked pug.
Yeah, so it was kind of funny. So it's Pinko Pig versus FWO. It was our game of the week coming into the week. So they actually, in a way, yeah. Hughes having trouble connecting to the game to start with. So TPO goes up 1-0. They agree to restart, and then they restart game 1, and somehow, like halfway through the game, it's 7-0 in favor of FWO. And
but by that point, only 3 players from TPO are playing.
I think on the 7th cap, that's when Bolschi left.
Oh, was it? Okay, so yeah. I tuned in at the exact wrong time then.
Yep. I mean, it was like 5, 6, 7, something like that. So from what Bubbles has said, Spheroid says something that sets Bolschi off. I guess Bolschi says, "I'm not having any of this. He's out." AJ quickly follows suit.
AJ was in there for as long as I could remember, though. I mean, it was like
he after Spheroid? I guess he must have been.
Because
and then
AJ
Bubbles is playing 4v1, and I'll be honest
dominated.
With you, he got a cap, by the way. And as an aside, those stats should not be voided. Like by rule, that is a fair.
Who knows what they're even going to do with the week? I don't know if we can go there yet.
But I'm just let's give them their stats.
How did 2 players just die there?
Yeah, I saw that spike and then rolling bomb. Yeah. It's just I don't
I got
even
some
know
non
where you go
sequiturs about
from.
this
I
week
don't even know
too.
where you go
Yeah.
from here. It's Wave Payne's week 1 all over again. I mean, the team's gonna threaten to quit. AJ said he's done. I assume. Actually, I think Spheroid might come back if asked, but balls to you. I'm sure it's not coming back, and he'll probably get some
No.
discipline as a result of tonight.
No.
What do
Ballsty
you
was not going to
do?
play another. Ballsty was not going to play another. Who was that? Was that Witcher? Ballsty. Okay, that series is done. Harlem Globetrotters won all of them. No, Ballsty's not going to play another minute of competitive tag pro at least this season.
But I guess
I
let me take the opposite angle here. I guess sure he left the game. Like, is that bannable?
uh why? Well, I was gonna say why
Like,
wouldn't
he
it
could
be?
very easily been a sub for games 2 through 5 for balls to you.
Who? What?
Like to balls to you leaves game 1. Like, that's not like they could have subbed someone in game 2 through 5. Like, that's not a bannable offense. I think. Like, yes, he could have played.
Doing it, and also like I don't know. You can't maybe call it victim of circumstance type deal. It's just like he left the game without nice
Oh,
cat
what a cat!
dog.
Yeah.
He left the game without having some valid reason. I'd
But
say
again, when has that ever been bannable?
because it was very clearly like on purpose tilting, and
Would you
then
rather? I guess would you rather have him continue to play and guess what? They lose by a dozen anyway because he's tilted.
it's like
It's
what
a
do you call
weird
it? It's like a
situation.
combination. It's like a combination of don't be a dick and also like integrity of the league and also I mean like take your pick. I
No,
feel.
no. If it's true what Bubbles is saying, and Spheroid kind of sets it
Oh, sorry,
off.
I'm not checking the chat.
Yeah, all good. I guess does not that not play into it a little bit? I mean, you'd like to think Balls to you just mutes and spits it out, but it's hard for me to just like say, man, Balls to you is done with the rest of the team facing no punishment because AJ is essentially doing the same thing. He just did it second.
I mean, yeah, well, AJ's pretty much self-imposed out if you read his Discord messages.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know what you say about Spheroid is kind of iffy, and then I'd say the other two are just kind of done.
Oh, I
Oh,
lost you on the camera,
I'm
by the way.
gone. Hello?
I think if the
I'm
there
back.
you are. Yeah,
I'm back.
Got you.
Yeesh.
Yeah, so now it's just like, what do you do now? Because Button, I guess.
I don't think we've had a precedent like for this where you just have.
I'm not thinking Button. That's the wrong team. Yeah, we really haven't had a precedent. But it's like, so who's the captain of that team? Waterreel? Does he just? He's not gonna be happy, but they're gonna have to just pick up 3 novice players, I guess.
I mean,
is there an out of league situation you think coming potentially?
You could. You could. I mean, some of us might say if I wasn't involved in clutch time, I would very much have also been an OOL player by now / what do you call it? / would have subbed into this game, you know, just to be fun and just to keep the night moving along.
Yeah.
The CRC was in the process of bringing an OOL team together. Yeah, so I mean, we'll see. I mean,
but that feels kind of messy to me too, because how do you fairly judge what the talent of that out of league team should be? I mean, that's a hard thing to do too. It's hard enough to do with 1 replacement. Now you're doing it with 3, maybe 4. I guess I don't know. I guess Bubbles sticks around.
Spheroid is like a straddler. AJ's that's the thing is for the 2 quote unquote first balls. I guess that kind of changes the equation.
Yeah. Like I could see a team like I know, like you said, because of this you're probably not doing it, but like a team like you, Cell, and I don't know, like maybe Yes and Bubbles is an equal replacement, but even then that's
a little too much, yeah.
Maybe a little, yeah, but it's like it's hard to balance.
Here's the thing: is do you call the gap in the standings? Do you call that our handicap so far, and then just
see what happens?
Where are they at now, right?
Yeah, but then if you are so much better than that team, like now you're punishing the teams you're playing against in their standings, right?
Exactly. So lots to sort through.
I don't envy the CRC. Trying to find if that's really the route they're going to go, trying to balance 3 out of league players is insane to me. I think maybe you give them 1 or 2 and then go novice call-ups for the rest. this is a great chance for me. I've kept pounding the drum for Randy all season. This is a chance to get Randy some minutes.
Yeah. This is the this is the problem of a summer season these days. Yeah, I mean, Joy is right. They've had to put up with a lot.
Yeah. So I guess just a lot to wait and see on that one. It's shame we
Yeah,
didn't actually get to watch the series at full strength. Although I guess by how game one was going, I don't know that it would have really been all that competitive. But
yeah.
I was intrigued to see how it went.
Oh yeah, well there you go. Josh is available and ready-made return or
Yeah.
replacement for Spheroid, whoever. Yeah, no, we're fine. I mean, think about it this way: like having 2 seasons in a year would also give it some, novelty effect. It would be like, oh man, now oh great, now we get to play again. This is great. I mean, it was in some ways back when the game was at its most popular. It was kind of fun to say, okay, it's a couple months away, and then I'll be back doing something else, whether it's moving up to A team or moving up to minors or competing and trying to be a top ball there. Now with everything, it just seems so I don't know the right word, but there things have been done, right? Like a lot of players have done a lot all they're going to do, and so maybe that repetitive nature of all these seasons just makes it so no one wants to play.
I do want to grab a comment from Timmy. So the CRC had tried to grab Josh, MC, and Alex Jones.
To
They're
go with
still,
bubbles.
yeah, that doesn't feel
Oh,
too
that's right.
bad.
Because yeah, no, I mean it's as good as it's gonna get for a night.
Yeah. Um, I do wonder at some point, like if you do sub three players, like it would be nice. Like you are taking opportunity away from novice players to get minutes, which I don't know if you care about, but
Say that again.
that's something to think about maybe.
Say that again.
So if you sub three players, like no novice players get in a call up in that situation. Like, do you care that no one's getting a call up? Like, if you go Josh, MC, Alex in this case, I mean, do we care that there's no opportunity for a novice player to
It's
take
so late
that
in the it's
spot?
so late in the season. Yeah, and Josh is technically a novice.
Yeah, I guess, but he was on our minors roster to start. I don't really count
I
him.
mean, put it this way, open it up then to anyone in novice who wants to do it, and then Godspeed.
I'm I'm kind of leaning that way versus just shoehorning three new players into the league.
I
You
get what
know?
you're saying. I think that was just more circumstances tonight.
Yeah. Yep.
It happens. Yes, the Dan P haters can go take a hike because Dan P deserves a shot.
All right.
So let me see what was on my notes. Let me see what I thought about tonight.
Do you want to start with the first game? Now that we've kind of talked the Pingo Pig.
I mean, they're all gonna be the same kind of talk. I think for all these games.
All right, well then give me
It
your
seems like
overarching take. Go.
um, it was good at the start, but it was too little, too late for the Whoppers.
Yep.
Um, the one thing I noticed about TMS that is a good sign for the future is they're really good at like getting ahead and catching up. Some teams just seem like they're like taking their time about it when they're, you know what I mean? Like they're just not using the map elements right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like the way that TMS just barrels ahead, even if they let a grab out past a couple.
That's.
And my other note is that the CRC has another thing to do because they need to ban Beef for playing Balatro during games. Sorry, I don't make the rules. Sorry.
Those first two games TMS had on Sardonica, the amount of work Goat and Irony were doing holding the flag was just insane. I
Irony
mean, just
had
insane.
maybe Irony had maybe the greatest 10 return 3 cap half of all time. No pups, but made like 10 highlight reel plays in 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Very good to see.
crazy. And then to your point about kind of too little, too late. I agree. That was kind of a theme for tonight in some respects. You saw that with fur ballers too.
Sure.
I wanted to draw the analogy. I don't know how well it holds up. I coached a football team 4 years ago. We were really bad, and there was one week. It was towards the end of the season where we were facing another team that had like one win, and we started off first half tied 7-7, and we hadn't won a game yet all season, and we're like, this is our chance, and we ended up losing 21-7, and it just kind of all fell apart. That felt like a couple of these teams tonight. You know what I mean? It's like we fought, and then just the difference was too much. You know?
The haves have clearly separated themselves, but in this point is usually when it happens at the very latest in a season. You know.
Yeah. And as soon as this Game 5 finishes, I'll get the updated rosters up. Well, I guess updated prior to tonight. Rosters up on the screen.
No.
And we talked about it, I think, briefly last week. I can't believe, and this might end up in our Mailbag segment, I can't believe every single team this season made a roster move. I can't remember that happening ever.
No, but it's what I mean. The player base is small, so there are some lines of demarcation. I think the way this worked with like the types of players that came back, you didn't know who you took. People took a lot of risks and didn't quite know. Okay, is such and such a player going to be ready to play again at this level? And pretty soon the answer was no, but Dalek sure can.
Yep.
Good cap. So is that series score still like 3-0 LBT then?
It's 3-1 LBT. This is Game 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is kind of the best played game of the night by default. That was in my notes.
Yeah, I think you're right. Although even this series, LBT's just had moments where it's like, wow, they're pouring it on. Oh, that's a beautiful
look at Dalek. Don't get Dalek back in this league, man.
No. Anything else to TMS and the other team whose name is escaping me?
No, but just.
Can I just say the vision for WAP? Man, if they didn't have to play TMS this week, like I know they're in the hard part of their schedule now, it's not gonna get better. But if they could have played some of these lower tier teams with this new lineup, I see some wins there. They're just not gonna get them because they already played those games. But I don't think, as it stands, this is the worst team in the league roster-wise. So I guess that's maybe something to hang your hat on. I thought Taurus looked great tonight,
It's not, but only because one other team has one player right now.
They could beat Furballers, maybe. It'd be competitive, right?
The current version of TPO has something to say about that. I think this WAP would beat Furballers, I think.
Yeah, so
but do they play each other still or no?
I thought that was their week 1 matchup that got rescheduled.
Oh, that's right. So yeah, RIP. RIP that dream.
Yeah, but man, it's sad that all this had to happen and they don't really get a decent roster together till week 4 because there were spots where it's like Gamma had some moments. Spheroid looked decent. They were winning pubs against TMS, which is a huge key for them, and then it fell apart at the end. But they won a game. They didn't look all that bad. The defense was still kind of shaky, but they were competitive, So
yeah, well, competitive really doesn't count for much.
I know.
So yeah, this was this is a bad week for the scrappy teams.
Yeah, interesting.
That's all there is. That's all there really is to it. So to get towards the tile.
Yeah, interesting take from Misery, and I wonder if I agree with this, that Furballers missed Trapson. So if you'll remember, Furballers had they dropped Trapson in order to pick up Toity after OPH dropped Toity.
Yeah, what the bleep was that move? Toity, I was seeing some misplays tonight. Sorry to say, bud.
Yeah, and Trapson's been really great for LBT. Like as soon as they picked Trapson up, it felt like they really took off.
Sure. Who's the captain? Is it Tinder or Fender?
It's Fender.
Yeah, I'm sure Fender was once he had to laugh to himself once he saw Trapson available. Like, I can pick a player who pretty much everyone else on that team knows. Talk about a big chemistry upgrade right there, big time.
Yeah, it's another one of those situations where, I guess the opposite in this case, but like Torty, gets dropped for Dalek, kind of like you mentioned earlier, how Nameless just looking for someone who knows what they're doing versus trying to wait to teach someone, and Torty, and then Furballers takes the gamble on
big time
Torty,
bomb,
big time bomb, and ends up not paying off for him, or at least it doesn't seem that way.
No, I mean, and this is nothing against the lad, but this was not his night. Put it that way.
Yo.
Yes, that's a good point, Russ. Tonight is the chaff wheat night.
I like that. So game 5, was that a HGB win as well? Did they get the sweep?
Yeah, and what do you want me to say about Furballers? What do you want me to say about Furballers?
I wanted to say...
they almost came close to winning once.
I wanted to say that I thought moving Ice Plat to O might be beneficial. It wasn't really.
Now, and please, this is like nice criticism on my part. Ice Plat, you're stopping too much. You got to keep moving a little bit just to take some risks. Because once you stop, and even players at this level, they'll take care of business. Don't you worry.
And I thought Timote pickup for them was, well, we talked about Torty already. Now you got two balls that are newer and Torty's trying to take that lead role, and Timo's trying to get used to minors still. I mean, that's a tough combo.
Remaking a minors defense with what is it, second season player?
Yep.
And a first season minors player. Yeah, good luck.
Hard to do. I mean, especially that 15 cap game for HEB. I mean, it's hard, man.
Yeah, Furballers does not know how to. Maybe this is just defense related. Furballers does not know how to play Aceta.
Kind of remind me of Jordan week 1 for a lot of those teams. Like defenses don't really know how to play it, and you saw some good scores. Nice cap.
Tinder no. I'm seeing something. Yeah, this is a weird week. These maps obviously lend themselves to misplays.
Like, PK defense debut. What do you think for HEB?
I didn't even notice it.
So good.
So I guess that's pretty good.
Yeah, game 1 was a little shaky. He was on skates a little bit, and then I look up at the scoreboard game 2 and in the game, he's got 18 returns, a couple minutes of prevent. And you know what? Honestly, I'm just saying Furballers isn't a top team. I want to see it against someone better. Not bad. Yeah. I mean, they swept, and PK, I think, looked not awful. I was dubious about his defensive prowess. I tried that with him 3 seasons ago. It didn't work.
Who, PK's?
Yeah.
No, I mean he's had those skills since the lad Ciescu was playing B team.
Okay, but I mean this is a little better than season 10 B team, you know.
I can't make one joke on this damn stream.
All right.
Yeah, no, I made a note when neither this was at the start of game 3, I think. Neither team knows how to play Aceta or how to communicate, just because of the way the Cats were let up. You all should get on some VODs and check that out. It was not good. And then I said, what are the two? And then, yep, Furballers doesn't know how to play the map. So
okay,
plenty to look at for next week. And
pause real quick. 20 seconds left. Let's finish this game 5 out, tied up.
This is a good one. Oh!
All right, see what Borges has got here. Nothing. All right, now do we commit to this tag pro? Surely, right? Trapson looking for the grab. He's just gonna walk. No. No one's fighting for the tag. Oh my god! They're just gonna win that.
Stay on the thing.
When is it?
Tinder.
10.
See, here's the thing. I think Tinder should have not grabbed the flag at all. He should have just gone and saved for the pup.
I'm right there with you. Once they fail to get that first cap or first chance.
All right.
Can they
sick play right here? Sick play coming.
Yes.
I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like any of that. No, take the boost before he uses them, Squeeb. A couple of Major's brains right here. They don't understand. What?
Oh my god. I don't think he had to hit that spike, dude, even with the boost.
No, you never have to hit a spike in this game. But yeah, I do it anyways.
Yep. Alright, so that red pup's at 10. Left is earlier. We'll see how they decide.
This is a pretty big game for OPH in the standings.
Yeah, they need this. They were kind of on the bubble, I think, if I remember correctly. Although
I
with
mean,
WAP
depending
and
on
TPO, they're fine, right?
Depending on what happens with, yeah.
So, I mean, they're definitely in. It's just how high they can get, because you don't want to play TMS or FWO game 1, right?
Playoffs. Or LBT, if you can.
Or LBT. Say,
shoot. You can't. Alright, so I guess I know who's winning the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, you want to be the... I guess you want to be the... Well, so first top 2 seeds get a bye, probably, right? So you want to be the 4 seed.
Yeah. Alright,
so that's a great chance.
YOLO play? Oh, where's the defense? What's going on?
There's no one there, dude.
There's no one to play defense. This is like a ranked game.
Another good chance. Gonna leave him to boost.
It's not the good version of a ranked game.
Free regrab, no anti.
So when are the pups? Is it what's the time?
Rate was around 10.
Like 10? Oh yeah, because there's no cap to tie it up, so we're actually not gonna get screwed over by the times here.
Yeah. No clutch time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so left was a little earlier. They pick it up at around 8. Rolling back for Squeeb. Might not even need it.
YOLO,
you just boost straight in. Go anywhere else.
Squeeb, hello? Why are you defusing? I'm pretty sure he didn't even kill anyone.
Yeah, I think you're right. Face kind of holding. Well, now that I say that.
Oh, OKC is up by 15.
Tinder's capping this.
Game?
Yep. Close. Alright, so that's game 5. LBT takes 4 out of 5. Go ahead.
My notes for this series. LBT is a very dark horse. They have a nice dark main.
I think they're out of dark horse territory. Don't you?
Well, everyone seems to fall in love with FWO.
As they should. I mean.
And my thing about LBT is they do be improving though.
I think they're.
They do be improving.
Improving's, I guess, is the way to put it. I just think they're good now, right? I mean, Trapson was we talked about it, big ad for them. It ended up being, and then, Tinder Borges as a 4th ball is great. Yeah, I mean, I gotta give Squeeb some flowers, I guess.
I can't tell if I like LBT or FWO better. Oops, there I said it. Oops.
Is this a they've both supplanted TMS for you or?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, here's my question. I was going to bring this up and then I realized I disagree with myself.
Yep.
Does Russ get a ring if a TMS wins the Mooper?
Alright, so he got dropped. He played 2 weeks, right? I think no.
I think no too. I was just thinking.
It's kind of like who gets the name on the Stanley Cup ring? It's like, is it Russ or the equipment manager?
Who gets the money? Yeah, who gets the win shares?
Yeah. So maybe like the co-captain gets in over Russ. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he
Mueller shook off some rust there, and he was playing better as the series went along. So
Mueller. So talk about OPH's moves. They get Mueller in place of A-Dog, and then
which is a little sad. I don't know if that necessarily. I mean, I think they get a little bit better. I don't know if it's like a push over the top deal.
And then it was face for Sweaty Pete, which fine because Pete wasn't playing regardless. So
is good, yeah. And face is a better player in my opinion. Nope.
No, I don't think that's hot.
This is my note of the week for misery. If you stream with splats on and have annoying splats, you're a terrorist.
Fair enough.
I can't believe people play with splats. I
think I've got splats on. I mean, I kind of just tune them out.
Or either that, or they're very faint. Like, there's no. Who thinks it's fun and cool that like there's bits of like goo inside the ball that just break apart when you get popped.
You remember that Tag Pro Anatomy T-shirt? There's a nice explanation of how that goo came to be. I'll have to find it.
Yeah. Via an embedded. Yes, I do. Okay.
I do want to mention the note for HEB Game 3. Furballers, Timote, end of Game 3, 5 seconds left, about to be clutch time. Timote is holding the flag, CT crunch on regrab. Timo intentionally runs into Tag Prof to give CT crunch the grab for clutch time.
He could have spiked himself too, I think.
Could
Or are there spikes? Or
there's
I
not
don't think
spike.
there
There's
is
just
spike.
those islands there. Yeah.
There's only spike by the gate.
Yep. So I thought a heady play from Timote doesn't end up working out, but putting the flag in the hands of CT Crunch, never a bad idea. I saw that. Thought it was a nice play. So.
Let's go mailbag. I will pick. What do you think? 3 questions maybe.
Yeah, give me your top three.
Where are we at in terms of like numbers in the
Just read
how many
the
minutes?
submission, who gave it to us, and what the question.
No, like how many minutes have we been going? Do you know?
I'm sorry. Let me see. We're 30 minutes in.
Okay, so I think we can get through at least 3, maybe 4.
Yep.
I want to start, and this is kind of this is fun because we get to Kusa's stat corner when we answer this
I
question.
love a little Kusa stat corner.
Okay, so Trapson asks, what's the biggest surprise / most unexpected thing to happen so far this season? And then also, what's your favorite sport to watch outside of Tag Pro? And Kusa's stat corner for the week is the number of shutouts in individual games / halves this season. Now, do you know when exactly we went to 5 games?
It has been.
It's been a little while.
It's
like
been
at least 4 or 5 seasons.
At least since the merge, because we were playing best of 5 since the merge. I think so. Season 27, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
So I went back and went through the stats for the last 4 seasons, or 3 and whatever we've played so far. In terms of shutouts, season 33, just 2 shutouts. 2 times a team had 0 caps in 10 minutes. Season 34, 5 of them. Last season, only 3 of them in the minors. This is all in the minors regular season.
Mm-hmm.
And then already this season, we've had 4 through 3 weeks, and then 13 halves where a team had 1 cap. I think that's pretty interesting. I think that maybe it's like I don't know what you chalk that up to. I mean, we've had no kiss. Is this like the 3rd or 4th no kiss season?
I believe this is the 3rd.
And I don't know. It feels like teams are still able to walk into caps by accident somehow. You know?
Yeah, it was I saw you typing that up in the doc. It was an interesting, and because you can't even look at the maps this season. I think because really only week 3 or week 2, whichever the lemon week was, that's the only week where you can say, oh, the map's playing a huge part in that. I mean, we just had Sardanica and Nasita. We played Jardim Moonbase week 1. I mean, I don't think it's a map problem.
Okay, so I talked really fast, and let me. Yeah. I'll slow it down for.
Yeah, slow
it
down.
Also, fewer minors teams. When are there fewer? I mean, how many minors teams were? Oh, okay, last season there were lots of. Whatever.
It's been between 8 and 12 for the past 5 seasons, right? So.
There have already been 4 shutouts through 3 weeks, and all that's way the pace is to like double the amount of shutouts in the last few.
Entire seasons, right?
Yeah, and throughout the entire minors regular seasons of the last few. Plus, like there's already been 13 halves where a team had 1 cap. So like it's very low scoring probably, but maybe not necessarily in total. That was a surprising / unexpected thing. I looked at the hub and I'm like, wow, I see a lot of zeros there that I wouldn't necessarily have expected.
Yeah, I wonder if people are getting, like, my experience has been that no kiss results in more caps than kiss, but maybe people are getting better at playing with it, and then maybe rolling bombs are being used better, maybe, like defensively and offensively to prevent cap chances.
Oh, you think that limits caps?
Yeah, I do think so.
Yeah, maybe.
It becomes more valuable as a defensive pup, right?
Yeah. And then I was also surprised about the amount of idiocy and whining going on.
Yeah, it seems unusually high this season.
Maybe, but and I can tie this into my favorite sport to watch being soccer and tennis, I'd say. But you guys know me, I'll watch any of it. The idea is like, okay, when you're a soccer team in England and you are and you're really good, a lot of casual people support you, and so do the hardcore fans.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the hardcore fans, there's obviously some nut jobs in there. And also, when the team is not very good and all those casual fans go away, the nut jobs are still there. I thought that was a good, an interesting parallel to draw when it comes to, the amount of weirdness going on this season.
Well, I'll give you my answer to this question. Most surprising thing for me this season, and I've talked about it ad nauseum. It's FWO. I thought they were preseason. I thought they were one of the two worst teams in the league, and even prior to getting Jazz, it was we keep talking about it. Greatest loss in Miners history, week 1, and they've continued to improve. They get Jazz now. They're incredible. I just think their whole story has been so entertaining and so fun to watch, and just such a shocker compared to what I thought about them.
Uplifting and positive in a season where there has not been that much in terms of
and then
good
the
things.
sports question, obviously, I mean, for me, it's the NFL, right? This is Detroit's year, God willing. It's just it's fun to watch good football.
Yeah, who knows, Russ? Russ brings up a good point in chat.
What do you say?
Is everyone on edge because of the uncertain leadership of the High-F's office?
Stop.
He needs a CRC, of course.
If we're gonna make that argument, I need a full thesis paper linking, national politics to tag pro attitude. I need a thesis on that.
Timmy's America.
All right, mailbag. Give us another one.
Pick one. I want to see what you think is interesting.
I will do this so as soon as I pull it up because I closed it.
We'll do a quick one then. Best Miners team of all time.
Yeah, I liked a couple of the takes you had there.
So this is for the old heads, but OK Hen season 9 was still dominant. Ball God, Meal, Ball McCartney, Abe, FXU as a sub. And then CAC Boosters season 20, which was Fly, Water, Might Dino, and Joy. And that's before, washed up players like Fly and Joy and Might Dino lost their ability on the keys.
So I thought this was a really important point for this exercise. Like, we see all these names now. Like, you see Abe Lincoln, and like, oh my God, what a player. We have to remember what they were like in the moment, right?
Go back and watch back then.
But you know what I mean,
Abe season 9 was clearly majors level, and you can talk to whoever you want, and they'll give you the same answer.
Yeah, to Sal's point, I don't think we're adding Blue Suede Poos into the mix, although that was one of my favorite teams to be part of.
I hate to say it, there were some pretty grim winners on that.
I agree, actually.
Miners doc.
I was with you, season 20 CAC Boosters. That one stood out to me.
I think Fly and Water by that point had already clearly been majors players.
Yeah.
And Joy too, definitely Joy too.
Oh, that was don't quote me on that. Was season 20 kind of when Water made his first dip into offense, and he had this like monstrous season that season?
Maybe.
So that to me is kind of that's a big shift for a Water wheel.
Joy, this is good for you. You might be here to answer. Was it you and Fly on D, maybe?
I think it was, because I think that might have been a definite.
Oh yeah, look at that. Water says he was in the Super the season before.
Yeah, so maybe he's in minors because he switched positions, right?
Yeah. What was season 20? Was that like 20? No, it wasn't 2020. That was too early.
No.
Would that have been like 2018, 2019?
Sounds maybe 2019.
Me, like Fly D, Water Wheel Dino. Okay,
yeah, so I mean that's a sit team. I thought modern era season, past post merge season 32, the Pepranos. That's Flashy Trip, Kelvin, Goat, and Bergie. Yeah. I thought that was a pretty good roster. Now, contention for all time, probably not, but of the post merge season,
they would have dunked on us. They would have dunked on. Was that the season you and me were together, or was that the season of you and Kat? No, I'm trying to think.
I was on a team with Mike Dino that season.
Was that the Rotatos?
No, because we lost to the Bottle Otters, who lost to the Pepranos. That would have been.
Oh, that was you and me, maybe.
Maybe Kneecappers. That might have been Kneecappers.
It could have been Kneecappers.
I think you're right.
And yeah, that team was good because we could we had a squadron then. That was probably with Sugar then too, yeah.
Yep, would have been with Sugar. Interesting point from Joy. We don't have the GOAT Mooper winner, the 4-time Mooper winner on any of these teams. Remo.
Remo would be, he was always like playing at a 9 out of 10 when the season was like an 8 out of 10. I mean, I just think. I think you talk about season 9 and season 20, and that's part of the Mount Rushmore. Actually, that's a good Mount Rushmore right there. 9, 20, 26, and 32.
Yep.
Okay. Name another question.
Yeah, this
That question was technically from me, so I added to the mailbag there.
Yep, this one we got from me. This was actually the first one I got too, and I liked the question a lot. So his question: do championship winning teams generally have a certain structure to them? Is there a pattern to how they're built? Do you want to take this one first?
So I mean, the way I was thinking about it, because uh, spoiler, we kind of put this together in a doc, and so that way we could come up with some decent answers. I tried thinking about like, this exercise in terms of like archetypes, and the more you realize it is like it's not like it's homogenized or anything like that. It's just kind of the there's obviously no one way to build a winner, and I mean there are patterns. Very funny, Sal. Very
Mm-hmm.
funny. Um, I think it just comes down to you've got so much talent that you blow by everybody, and then when you're playing like the last two games of the playoffs, you're you're just that little bit better already, or you've already built up the kind of muscle memory of winning, so you know what you're doing when it comes to the pressure moments, or you're four players of decent skill at least, and then you just play so much in sync that that pushes you over the top, or you do one of those two things to such a degree that it doesn't matter if you have maybe one or two players that aren't quite on the same level as your top balls, or if you play just so what's the word, play so in system and so together that um, that it then it just overcomes whatever obstacle you got out there for you. Um, it's just you'd have to. It's tough to think about like examples offhand of teams that have just won it based off of simply chemistry. But I mean, you have to say that any team that's won a championship, they haven't done it by being by each other's throats for half the season.
Yeah, and it's such a boring answer for me, but to echo your point about talent, like that's it. I mean, for if we're restricting this to minors, which I think we are, it's so clearly it's like how talented can I get my roster, and then how do you get to that point? I think is maybe the more interesting question. I called it out on our doc. It was like I remember so when the Dolphins, Miami Dolphins won season 24. Jarvis was captain in that team. Jig was his prelim pick. Jig had 110 TC and then 100 was average draft. They end up with this stacked roster of Selfie, Edzio, and Deman. And Jig obviously played a whole lot freaking better than a 110 TC player, right?
Right.
And I don't think it's the case for all these champs, but like TC adjustments matters, and I know people complain about it, and I think people understand the importance of how players are valued as prelims and all that, but I don't know if they quite understand how much of an impact it can have when you're building a roster. I mean, the talent Jig was able to get, we saw it with Titan. I think that was season 30, or excuse me, season 29 when he won with the Bottle
Yeah.
Waters. He had enough TC to pick up Jarvis, RKT. I mean, it's just
Oh
you
yeah.
make your team so talented, and
It does take some throwing on the part of other captains. And the other thing is I call it like the shenanigans player. Like the I mean obviously it's either someone who's like undervalued or didn't this is majors, but like that season that Jump Ball came in for the Super, I think he was a free agent pickup. Um, and so I think it was him, Ishii, maybe D Star, and then Hark,
uh-huh.
and then you're like, oh man, I just remember from that season just uh Jump Ball just popping off, and like he wasn't. I mean, obviously it was Hark in main part. Oh, he was on the minors team. Okay, but either way, oh yeah, like a minors call up. That's a shenanigan right there. Um, so yeah, I think when that player turns into your number two or your number three, that definitely that's a pattern, right? I mean, we've seen multiple teams win that way.
Yeah, and then I think the other kind of the other, uh, I guess, talent stacking that jumped out to me, like when you look at when We the People won in season 31, They had Esther and PK as their third and fourth balls, who played fine.
Okay,
PK on defense, funnily enough. I know we talked about that a
but
little bit tonight,
but
but
when was okay? Frankly speaking, that must have been a really bad season to have Aster come in and become
and
this like above average player.
and that was my point I was about to make. Anti-Re and Omni were so much better than everyone else. Like we
Right.
talked about having your better than average third and fourth for whatever reason talent wise. It didn't even matter. Anti-Re and Omni were just so much more talented than everyone else. They could have steamrolled the league with any third or fourth ball, I'm sure. Um, so it's boring, but it is a talent difference depending on the season strength. Depends how much talent you need, but and how you get there is maybe a function of draft, of TC value for prelims.
Yeah,
Maybe
you
it
have to
varies
have
how you
team
get there,
diff.
but it's
It
stacking
just
talent. It's stacking
needs to be
talent.
needs to be team diff,
Yeah,
team diff.
yeah. I mean, it's boring, but
Um,
that's the theme, right? I'd say the
pass
only
at
maybe the only maybe sync team that you could point to your point, the one that jumps out to me is that Griff team that she captained season 21, Cheese Doodle, First, Dad, and Garg. A lot of good players.
and they all got
Elite
along
players,
super
probably
well.
not, but I remember I played that season. That was a team that just all around just killed you. And I don't know that any of them were like super standout at the time, but they were
They
just good
that team
together.
was that team was just tight. I feel like
Yes.
they all liked each other.
Yeah, I mean, they were all, I think, former manipulation station members, so they'd known each other.
Exactly,
Yeah, so
exactly.
definitely the vibes were there, and I think to your in sync point, that's the team that I look at. So
Pass asked a fun question, which I've always thought of, and this is a perfect timing on this question given the season of no scrims. What's better for pregame scrims? A team that's difficult to cap on, or a team that's the bottom team in the standings and one that you just dumpster? I added what do you call it? Editorialized that question. Um, it's it's the team that is gonna play the most like they might play in an actual game, right? I mean, I'm the type where I'll take a lot of risks in scrims just to have some fun and try to like make a highlight play or two. And then when it comes to the actual game, you play a little bit more conservatively.
hmm
Um, I think most of us would say we probably play the that way in scrims, right? Pre-game scrims.
definitely looser, I guess.
Um,
Yeah.
and so it's not so much about the quality as it is, are they playing the same style they would play when it came into the actual game setting?
Yeah, I guess I'll take a different tack, and from a captaining standpoint, this is less about me personally, but when I was trying to schedule scrims, especially before playoff series, I think this is really a playoff series question to me. If
Yeah,
if you get, I've had it happen, where I'm involved with the novice team, and we're coming up on a playoff series. It's pregame, and we schedule a scrim
God
against a
forbid,
minors team.
God
And
forbid you end up captaining a novice team.
yeah. Well, so so we scrim, like, you schedule a scrim against a minors team, or maybe your minors team you scrim a majors team before your
Yeah,
playoff
or with like
series.
some minors player or majors players just together. Yeah.
Yeah, and you get waxed, and you get absolutely waxed. It's a total
See,
it's a total confidence killer. But I've had it happen the other way, where it's like, okay, we're kind of holding our own, and then once we get into the game, it's like, oh my god, we're playing so much faster than this other team. I always go back
yeah,
and forth on it. Like, is this gonna shatter my team's mentals if we play a team that's too good per game? You
I
know?
think if they're playing fast, it's a benefit either way. If you do get smacked around, or if you do hold your own a little bit, because like you said, like it's the training weight idea.
Yep. Yep.
Um, yeah, it's just I think I remember before the Nooper
Yeah, I was
back in
thinking about
season
that
8.
too. You guys played a really good team pregame, and we're
No,
like,
we played
beating
like
them.
it was like Curry. No, I don't remember that. It
I
was like
think you guys
Curry
were.
and some other folks.
I don't know.
I I remember us getting gated a bunch on Emerald is what I do remember, and so I think that helped because that what happened was we get into the game and you realize, oh, they're gonna let us do some things that the team that we just played in scrims wouldn't let us do.
Right.
So it kind of takes the shackles off a little bit.
Yeah. But man, and then what? The flip side of it, if you scrim a team that's not very good, just you're using them as a confidence booster. What happens? What happens if you don't play well against them pregame? It's kind of the same thing, but on the other shoe, right? You're like, oh my god, we can't beat this crappy team in pregame scrims. We're supposed to go up against
That's
the number one team
yeah.
in playoffs in a second.
That's when
You
it's
know?
the worst of the worst of
Yeah,
the worst, I'd say.
yeah. So almost maybe you're almost better just always scrimming the better team, and when you get smoked, you got some cope to it. You
Yeah,
know?
I mean, no swag's right. You just get loose against those worst teams. I and that might not necessarily be a bad thing because, like I said, you get a little bit more tense once you actually get into the regular game. I can't remember. I can't remember if I played really well when I was like feeling loose, so to speak, versus like being like focused in and on it. Maybe it's like an offense versus defense thing. I think in defense you just have to have a little bit more concentration to you.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think when I'm
Because
playing well,
you know any one grab can turn into a cat versus you know if you're on offense you die you know it's like playing baseball almost a little bit where you know you you cap 30% of or you cap at a 300 rate in tag pro you're a Hall of Famer.
yeah, no, serious. Like a good cap rates in the two.
It's like
You know,
yeah 20 yeah
yeah,
so that's even yeah you can even change that around.
yeah,
He was a 200 capper.
yeah, yeah. It was an interesting question. I lean towards just scrimming the better teams.
And
But there's
it's
something.
also the scrimming during the week is so much easier than I think it should play like two scrims max, maybe boost around a little bit before
Yep.
a game. Like the idea of like it makes you think nowadays like man, how did we ever how did we ever scrim for like an hour before the actual game started?
I mean, I'm
You were
still
playing more
doing that.
scrim than you were playing more scrim than you were actual game 50
Yep.
minutes versus 50 minutes. And that's 50 minutes versus 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's more now. All right, we probably got time for one more. Is there one more you want to hit?
Mm, I like yours, but it feels like it might take a long response.
I
And I
don't
like
know. Let's hit it.
okay.
All right. So the question I posed, this is because I've had DMs with people during these ad drop periods. There have been ad drops. Toity, and I'm not saying this is who I'm talking to, but like you see someone like Toity get dropped in favor of Dalek. You see someone. I'm trying to think. Face gets dropped. Gamma had been dropped originally, and it's like the sentiment I'm getting in these DMs is like, look, I'm going to spend all this time coaching this novice player or second season player who doesn't quite have it mentally, and I'm going to spend 7 weeks making them better, and I'm probably not going to win a playoff series, but by next season they're going to be pretty good. But it doesn't really do me a whole lot of good this season. And so forget about trying to develop them. I'm going to just drop them and pick up someone who I know has a head on their shoulders. They may not be as good mechanically, but I can trust them a little bit more, and I think my chances of winning are better. PK is a great example of that HGB picks him up in place of Timote, right? It's kind of that same idea. And so my question was, okay, so we see that happen like a bunch this season. We talked about it, a ton of ad drops, and it's like so now, like is Novice failing their players? Like, is Novice to blame for these players not meeting the higher standards that are expected of them once they make the jump to minors? That was the question I posed.
I do think so because the building blocks that used to be there, I don't think are being taught the way they were. Um, the way I think about it is this: before my very first competitive season, before any like that stuff, like you could use Reddit for some guides,
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of knew what the word contain was, but you didn't have a great idea of how to put containing into practice. And so I think the newer players now just have some bad habits in terms of how to block a guy that way he doesn't wriggle off and grab the flag um and get make create space for themselves. And like a lot of contains look weird sometimes, and obviously the game is so much faster that some of this stuff gets a little outdated in some ways, but it it just doesn't seem like the new players now that come in. I mean, think about the gap that it took me, what, 9 months to go from like B teamer, like occasional part of a good team. Like
Mm-hmm.
who knows what would have happened if I'd been part of like a 0-10 team that just I'd be playing a lot more minutes, but I'd be getting capped on in those minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to Nooper Ball winner and maybe what? Uh, would I have been the fourth best player on that team?
On the Nooper team, I
I
guess
think I would
it's a
have been
conversation between you and Evan, but yes.
the. Yeah, I mean, the two defenders were the worst players on that team when you think about it.
Yeah.
And so, but that was because I had a Captain Elegant that came in and was willing to answer questions and like willing to talk through different portions of the game. Of course, at that time I was a sponge and was like watching a bunch of majors games, and even now it's like I don't think I was probably taking the right things away from that. But the way I think about it now is like a novice player coming in gets drafted. I don't hear a lot about obviously there are a handful of players in Discord that are like, I want to get better, show me how, here's what I got to do, what, someone give me some tips, and they'll do that, and then that player will be in the game and they'll be kind of not really doing many of those things. Um, if that makes sense, right?
It
Because
does.
they not because they don't care as much about improving, but just whatever they're seeing now weren't the proper building blocks.
Yeah, and I think what Waterwheel is saying in chat kind of strikes to how I feel about it. I think it starts with novice. Like I think about going back to when I was a rookie, season 8. The first scrim that I played was an 18 scrim with you on defense.
This again.
No,
Market, you
but
got a lot of
I
returns, and
did, and you put me on
you
offense.
didn't.
No, but the point was we were an affiliated team between A and B.
Yeah.
I got to practice with you guys, so I'm
And you'd
playing
already
B
had a little bit of you'd already had a little bit of competitive experience
a little bit with
USC.
Yeah. So I get this good experience playing with the A team. I'm able to make the jump to A team the following season. I struggle, by the way. I mean, that was not a good season for us. We just missed the playoffs, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then season 10, I was in A team again, and we, finally had a breakout season, made it to the Nooper, lost in the Nooper, and it was like, so it felt like novice at that time, and honestly, as a
More
whole,
players, obviously, more players. So
more players. There was an infrastructure in place that doesn't exist now, and it's not just a novice problem. But like to Waterer's point, it's like no, we don't really run tourneys anymore. Back when I first started playing, it was sockos every night. It was
very useful.
Radiously tag pro. You're playing with majors players. You're getting your butt kicked, but you're learning something.
Right.
The community is huge. From a player count base, I'm still playing USC, so again, I'm facing some higher level players than I would just playing B team and A team. You're very involved as my first captain, right? You kind of give me that shot to move up to A team in season 9.
Yeah, and it wasn't like you were like when we talked after games or even after B team games. I think I can't remember if that season I might have done a little bit. No, B team, yeah, B team I did a little bit of like VOD review in that situation. Yeah. And I think even like annotated games, which Nameless might remember too. And I think you know, and this isn't like to pile on captains, especially at the novice level. Who I mean, think about the number of players that don't want to do it because they see it as like a waste of their own time. Like, it's just that I think I don't even know if you can say that so many things have changed about the game that you all of a sudden there's just no way to make someone better.
Well, I think the other part of it, like it's just been, I think just time weighs on people. Like
Yeah.
it's hard for me to want to do VOD review now, and we do it for majors. But like when I was 20 years old and I was in college and I had a bunch of spare time and I was
Yeah.
new to the Tag Pro, I had I had a lot of energy for like putting it into the game and getting better. Well,
And playing pubs,
Yeah,
which were actually active. I mean,
I'm 29 now. I'm married, and I'm like, I don't really care as much anymore. And a lot of these captains who've been there for so long, like I think the big three in novice, ASAP, Fender, Nameless, not really having
Yeah.
them involved anymore. is such a huge loss for Novice. But honestly, even if they were captaining, they probably aren't putting in a tenth of the effort that they put in, 4 years ago.
Yeah,
You know what I
depends.
mean?
Maybe if the player base was still what it was, maybe
Yeah.
there's an argument to be made. Robbie, I'm curious why you think the no kiss is killing the game.
Yeah, Fender
I
says he's still captaining, by the way. But I doubt. I think you would say, Fender, compared to your season 11 LBT teams, there's no shot you're as involved with that team as you are with your current Novice team. I'm sorry, it's just you're not.
This ain't 2017 anymore, kid.
Yeah, and I don't know. I
Oh,
think it's a time
Robbie
thing. I
trolling.
think it's a player based thing. We kind of lost the infrastructure. I think because people are just tired. You know.
Sorry, my bad, my bad. I don't have the Discord lore with me. Well played, Robbie. Well played. Yeah, and Borges made a good point further up, where it's like furballers have 3 second season players. Mechanics can only take you so far. The thing I'm thinking is, not to be mean, but like, what would you talk about in your VOD review to say, you know, hey, we're losing. Why are we losing, right? And it's like, you know, some players will take that VOD and review and they'll get better from it because they'll figure out their decision making. Well, shoot, if they don't know what decisions they're making wrong in the first place that lead to
Yep.
outs or lead to getting capped on, then it's a zero sum game.
And that's why I think those tourneys and stuff were so important because it forced you to realize decisions were bad.
Yeah,
Because against better players, now suddenly you get punished. I always go back to that
and
merge
there was a
season.
handful. There were a handful of majors players that would be rude about it,
Yeah.
but if you stuck around, eventually you figured out how to not make those people pissed off.
Yeah, true.
Don't don't. I mean,
And
we'll
I
see.
go back to the merge season, like we saw echoes of that when we went to that big middle tier when A team and minors merged. And I always give Jer and Vic as the examples of people who were in A team for many, many seasons, and now suddenly they're in minors with some better players, and they actually start playing really well because they're playing against better competition and they're learning from it. So that was kind of like the last echo of that sort of interaction to me. And we just don't really get it anymore, you know?
PK said, see Marcus in previous seasons being kept in coach because he brought the mechanical skills that the team needed. Offensive players more than defensive. Yeah, I do think, a raw offender, a raw attacker, definitely has more staying power than because if you're a poor newer defender, then it really starts to impact like your novice teams or your B teams like record when you can't keep the flag in and getting capped
Mm-hmm.
on all the time. Um,
There's definitely more room for error probably in offense.
yeah, yeah, and and so yeah, a handful of players did just kind of jump up by default, and the ones that were still serious about improving and getting better were the ones that jumped all the way up.
Mm-hmm. So we don't really have a
Uh,
mechanism for that right now.
so does that mean not? I mean, novice is failing as a developmentally, but I think given the current circumstances, of course, right? I mean, it's if we're talking about a player base from 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, um, then there would have been more players in that role ready to step up and
Yes,
say
agreed.
when
Agreed.
Nameless or Fender left. Because think about it, they took over for Honey Bear and
And
Elegant and
dance and all that.
Anze and yeah,
Yeah.
and who was it that had like 21 Jump Street and all like 21
Sidewalk and
Juke
all of
Street?
them, right?
Yeah. So I mean, once that kind of stopped, it was just kind of curtains on that portion of it, which is a bummer because the way the game was growing for a moment there, yeah, that was fun. I the Steam release, if it ever happens, is fun to me because yeah, I don't. You're gonna have we have this stratified thing of all these new players don't know how to press their keys, experienced players getting mad at them, cycle, cycle, cycle,
Yeah,
and then one leaves and it's night over.
it would be to see this game grow again. I don't know. It'd be awesome, but we'll see.
Yeah. All right, now we're at an hour probably. Now we can
Yes, we
call it
are an
good.
hour and 4 minutes. We're right on the money.
Boom.
All right.
All right. Well, we're not doing an emergency whenever they come up with the punishment for TPO.
No, we can cover that next week.
Fare thee well, balls to you, wherever you are out there.
All right.
Godspeed to you, son.
I will do a little self promote. the Survivor reaction pod, Tag Pro Survivor. That will be on Wednesday this week at 10 p.m.
You mean Tribal Council?
Tribal Council, yes. Will be 10 p.m. Wednesday Eastern Time, so tune in for that if you're interested. And then Koos, thank you as always for your time tonight, and we'll see
Thanks
you next
everyone
Monday.
for having a lively discussion there at the end.
Yep.
We that's a kind of good question to that type of question is always going to create some conversation.
Yeah, for sure. All right. See you next week. Stay tuned for Koos's number 2, sure, potentially.
Oh yeah, we might get in the top 5, right? Because we'll have 3 weeks left plus a couple playoff weeks.
Yep.
You never know. You never know. Sal,
right.
make that sheet for me, please. I forgot all my rankings already.
Yep. All right. See you guys.